he thinks that he can translate what they want to see in rec centers to what they want to see in NBA arenas, and it don't work that way, and they found that out. But the dipshits are scared to admit it and acknowledge it, so instead they find other people for Tony to be concerned with or make problems with, or whatever, to keep him distracted from the obvious, clear, empirical data in front of his eyes. In my opinion.
Yeah, for the people saying that nothing matters except for the television rights deal, what about the ratings that are going down every week? You can't blame that on just people dropping cable. Raw and SmackDown are not having this problem. It's an AEW problem. The other excuse you hear, and we'll probably talk about this more in detail on the show, but I heard Dave Meltzer say it, one of the reasons AEW is struggling is because WWE's hot.
Oh, good Lord.
That because they're hot, it takes everything away from AEW.
Okay, that's only contradicted by the Monday Night Wars, by the promotional war in Detroit and Indianapolis between the Sheik and the Bruiser, by it...
The Monday Night Wars is the best example of...
What happened to the old saying? It's been going on for 50 years in or more than that in the wrestling business. The rising tide lifts all boats except when one of the boats has a fucking hole in it. Right?
And no stars. But let's go to some audio, and there's a lot. So we're going to go to the section we're going to start with, because it's one of the things everyone's talking about, Jim. CM Punk, London, All In, Wembley Stadium, the incident with Jack Perry. Stop this. Let me know when you want to say something. There's a lot of audio here to play.
I'll raise my hand.
Once again, this is CM Punk talking with Ariel Helwani on the MMA. Is it the MMA Hour?
The MMA Hour. But it lasted 4 hours.
No, because the YouTube page says MMA Fighting on SBN. But I believe it's the MMA Hour. Let's go to this.
That's the way it was sold to me.
August of 2023. London. You arrive in London.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, go ahead.
How does that go? What happens?
There's nobody there to pick me up, and it's not a big deal. I just got on the tube, and I was like, adventure, you know. And
you have to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, but that part was fun. But it's completely irresponsible as a company to, you know, leave somebody stranded at the airport. But, you know, I understand the sentiments. People, you know, all the smarties on Twitter, like, oh, can't you just take an Uber? Will you, big crybaby? I never cried about it once. Not once.
How do people find out about these things?
Well, there were fans on the tube.
Okay.
They're taking a picture, and, you know, like I'm sitting there, I'm just sitting on the tube, and I'm just like, this is...
Yeah, hey, just real quick. Brian, how easy you think it is to find an Uber in a foreign country to take you to a goddamn 80,000 seat stadium for a major event, and you're the fucking star? What do you think would happen if Mick Jagger pulled up in front of the goddamn stadium in a fucking Uber and the people saw him?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can get Ubers anywhere. It's a pretty long drive from Heathrow into town.
That's what I'm saying, is they left him floating around, and how are you going to get an Uber to go to Wembley Stadium in the middle of a giant event when you're the star of it and get in? And Punk is, I'm sure, worked Wembley Stadium many times. I've been in this position. Where the fuck am I supposed to go? It's a goddamn stadium. I'm on the show. Tell the fucking parking guy, let me in. It's bullshit. He's the biggest star they got in a foreign country, and they can't even send anybody to pick him up at the airport.
Let's go back to more audio.
Tony's big idea was a separate show. We're going to separate everybody. And I said, that'll never work. Just let me go. Just get me out of here. Just pay me my money. I've already been off TV. I heard the song. Just get me out of here. You know, no, I can't let you go. Why? Just let me go. Who cares? It's best. I mean, these guys don't want me here. This isn't a real business. This isn't a business predicated on making money, drawing money, selling tickets. You know, doing business. It's not what it was sold to me as. So let me go. No, I can't let you go.
Hey, hold on.
Let's stop it there.
Yeah. Because, well, first of all, what would you think if you were a responsible adult that had put this much money into a venture or a project or a business, and the biggest name that you have that has been the one that's drawn the biggest numbers for you tells you flat out he thinks your business is a fucking joke, would you not ask, why do you think that? Tell me in detail for hours so I can fix it? Instead of, oh, no.
Because Tony thinks he has all the answers. That's the problem. You have to be able to admit you're wrong and admit there's a problem. I mean, it's like drug addiction or anything else. You have to be able to admit yourself that there's a problem.
But do you think Tony...
address it.
Do you think Tony knows deep down, but he just doesn't want to admit to Punk verbally that, yeah, I know that they're assholes, and because he's there, they're his friends too, and then they'll be mad at him.
No,
Does he know this, or he's just oblivious?
I think Tony is a son of the Observer, and he thinks he knows the right way based on everything he has read without any direct institutional knowledge or anything. And because a lot of people who know better, instead of saying, Tony, you're not good at this, why are you doing this? The locker room isn't a great place. Like, there's all sorts of issues. Instead, it's, here's what Tony needs to do to improve. Or, AEW doesn't have a problem. WWE is hot. Like, all these different excuses, instead of Tony Khan is not good at booking. He's good at matchmaking for pay-per-views with New Japan stars. But I think a lot of people could do that. A lot of people could say, oh, gee, who would Takeshita have a great match in the ring with for 20 minutes where they go back and forth? Let me see. That's easy to do.
But now, wait a minute. He's not a great matchmaker because he's also had Ishii going 20 minutes with whoever, and that ain't any good, brother. But here's another thing. Punk said this was not what it was sold to me as. Now, I may blame Punk in part for probably not watching enough AEW before he agreed to, because boy, if he'd seen it every week in its brutal, grisly clarity like we have, he might have not have fallen for this, but they probably sold him on the idea that he would be having control of his stuff and be able to do what he thought to increase the ratings, sell the tickets, whatever, which he did at first especially, until they started doing everything they could, including on air, to sabotage him. But anyway, let's go back to this Wembley story.
I'm going to do this new show. You're going to have blah, blah, blah. And then the second day we have this show, I'm sitting in catering, minding my own business, and Tony Schiavone comes in.
Now, come on, that's our line. Minding my own business.
I wasn't even there.
Tony Schiavone came up to him, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I really need your help. And I was like, what? He's like, Jack is, cussing me out, and he's cussed out Mike Mansuri, and he cussed out Daryl from production, and he's cussing out the doctor right now. Why? What? And I was immediately like, the dude isn't supposed to be here. I was told people are getting separated, so there's not problems, and you don't want me involved in this because, just like everything else I've explained before, like, y'all need to handle this, because if you don't, I'm going to handle it, and you're not going to like the way I handle it.
Let me stop it there for a second. Before the whole thing with Punk and Jack Perry, before this one and then Wembley, how's Jack Perry get away with cursing out the producer of the show, the doctor? He's just cursing out everyone backstage?
Tony Schiavone,
Mike Mansuri
used to it from the old days, but because, well, I guess he figures he's untouchable because he's from California along with the rest of the raisins.
Prophetic words. Now, please, he drags me out of catering. I go up. Hook and Jack are doing an angle. I don't know anything about Jack going on vacation. All I know is there's a litany of people that don't want. They work one day a week and they don't want to. So they want to show up and wrestle and then film vignettes and then sit at home for 4 weeks. Great. Not my company. Do what you want. But not on my show. That was my attitude. So I said, Tony, you really want me doing this? Yeah. And I walked up to Jack, and he was sitting in a car. What he wanted to do, it was a rental car. What he wanted to do was smash the window of the rental car with a pipe. And I was just like, it's a rental car. And I very politely, because I like Jack, I was just like, Doc's told you no. Daryl's told you no, Mike's told you no, Schiavone's told you no, and now I have to tell you no. And apparently you've cussed them all out, so I'm telling you no. We don't do that here. If you want to do this, go to Wednesday and do it. right?
You know, we just talked so much about double standards. And, you know, you've said it, and CM Punk actually even said it in this interview about The Rock. You know, there are double standards when it comes to top guys in the business. Even Punk said, I think I have one. Top guy. For Jack Perry to behave like this when he's not someone who moves anything. He's not a draw. He's not a ratings draw. He's not a pay-per-view draw. He's not a merch seller. He's not a star beyond the mid-card. How does a guy like... See, I mean, I can understand why people said, like, oh, it was petty for them to kick guys out of the show. I can understand why you didn't want certain guys around an environment that was trying to be different.
But, well, he was comfortable. Jack Perry, he was comfortable because his friends, the EVPs, had told him, oh, you're fine, you're good, you can do whatever because you're figured in with us. And he sees the way Tony sets examples, and he figured, and probably nothing bad would have happened to him if, if Tony'd either said, oh, go to your locker room, Jack, and he came, or anything, whatever, but Tony wouldn't do anything. But go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, this is Collision. Tony Khan was there, right? I mean, he hasn't been brought up in this story, but you have to figure he was in the building.
One would think he's always there, but nobody's actually said that he had any interaction whatsoever. And nobody went to him to do anything.
All right, back to Punk on the MMA Hour.
And he had no problem. He said, okay. He said, well, I just thought it was a really cool idea. And I said, it might be, but this is a rental car. The boys run it for the boys. You're going to smash the window of a rental car and you're going to return it with no fucking window. And now whatever the national budget hurts, whatever is going to be like.
By the way.
You've talked about this with hotels and stuff.
Well, also, that was a fucking thing that happened in Columbus, Ohio in 1982 or whatever, whenever they started going from Georgia to Ohio for the Northern Tours. Tommy Rich wrecked so many cars from, I don't know if it was Budget or Hertz or what company it was, that they quit renting to wrestlers. And it was a pain in the, and I think more than one maybe company, and it was a pain in the ass for guys to get around up there because guys kept fucking wrecking the cars.